Welcome, friends. Thank you for tuning into the Optimal Health Program today. I hope you're doing well. A lot of good information, good news happening. We're going to be expanding our reach. We're also going to be setting up another great podcast brought to you by Longevity Health Sciences, which is a company that I started a couple of months ago. And we're using that to disseminate information, to put together a great podcast, newsletter. We'll have lots of different things for people to interact with. We're marching forward, working with the project to be able to have people put their blood work into the computer, get the AI read, recommendation, exercise, diet, vitamins and minerals, telehealth visits, hormones, peptides, the entire thing. So it's walking along beautifully. So we're very close to setting that up and to putting it out there. So we'll be able to do that. We're looking at more airtime to take, maybe during the week. So a lot of good things going on. So different topics we can talk about today. Vitamin C may help to preserve brain gray matter and volume as we age, so you could improve your brain function, protect your brain function with vitamin C. We'll discuss that thoroughly. An interesting article on which fruits and vegetables are best for heart health and why. So flavonols are at the top of that list. We'll go over that. How the GLP-1 drugs may help to slow biologic aging because they're decreasing the way that sugar can damage your tissues. And there's an interesting study on, can a common blood pressure medication or class of medications worsen kidney disease in type 2 diabetics? So a lot of cool stuff to talk about. And Frankie, we're up and running everywhere.
We are
we
up
on the front
and
page?
running. Front page glory.
Beautiful.
Hello to our LFA chat. I
Yes,
see you
all
all.
LFA besties.
And of course to our YouTubers. You know,
YouTubers,
we're doing-
Spotify, Instagram, Facebook, everybody everywhere. Have some more interesting things to talk to you about that as well in social media. So we'll chat about a lot of good things today. So if you like, certainly you can give us a call, 888-420. Did I forget the number? I did.
There you
I
go.
haven't said it in a while.
There you go, Chief.
888-420-9272. So we'd love to hear from you. Otherwise, text us or write us a little blurb, and Frankie will get you a question up and out, and we'll go over it.
Got a question here. Hey Doc, what foods help to calm down with anxiety?
So that's a good question. Anxiety can be caused by many things. If anxiety is from low testosterone in men, there's no food that's going to make the difference. So you need to check your blood thoroughly and correct the testosterone. All of a sudden, anxiety will go away as soon as we start to bring the testosterone up. For some people, there are foods that create the anxiety, panic, depression mechanism, and those are carbs. If you eat too much carb, your blood sugar goes up. You dump too much insulin. If you're training your body to make a lot of insulin with the repeated carb exposure, blood sugar goes down, you're anxious, irritable, panicking. So we want to keep the carbs down, keep the proteins on board, have the good fats and oils, olive oil, fish oil, because those are also good for your brain and brain function. Flavonols are also good. Any of the vitamins and nutrients are important because a lot of people, when they become vitamin deficient, become anxious and irritable. And individuals who are very low on vitamin D that have that, when we give them a D shot and give them vitamin D orally, their mood improves. So it's not a on-off light switch sort of answer. It depends upon what's causing the anxiety behind the scenes. And for women, estrogen, progesterone decline, thyroid decline, DHEA decline, IGF-1, the active component of growth hormone. So there's an entire cluster of things that as we age start to change and make us more anxious, irritable, uncomfortable, unhappy, panicky.
On that topic, why does it seem like so many teenagers struggle with anxiety now? Are kids today actually more anxious than previous generations, or are we just talking about it more?
I think they're much more anxious than before. And I remember growing up as a kid, and in my neighborhood and schools, you just didn't see that many kids who were anxious. But today, the psychology of interaction is distorted. I had a ton of friends when I was a kid, friends in school, friends at home. The more people you knew, the more friends you had. And you would do different things together. We played all sorts of sports. The diet was better back then. There's not this huge overproduction of junk in the foods and chemicals and colorings and dyes, and you didn't have as much fast food and junk food back then. So there's a lot that's changed that is making people and kids much more anxious than before. It's a massive sugar explosion where people are eating carb with every meal, and we didn't do all that. And they're eating out at restaurants and fast food places that are not good, so you're getting poor quality food. That's definite. We've got to get back to eating the healthy, good quality food. And like I say, I go to places like Moolah Farms to go get the chicken and the meat and the sausage and stuff. No chemicals, none. Great quality food. Big difference in the taste. The fresh milk, all of these things, the yogurt, etc. You can eat really good food. You can grow your own vegetables. I do. Little plot of land, and you can set that up, or just go to organic farms and buy things. Don't eat the junk that's kind of forced on you, in some of the markets, or supermarkets rather. We've spoken about meat glue. We've spoken about all the stuff that's going on, lab-grown meat. Don't dare even do any of that. Just get your safe, healthy, natural foods the way that people had for thousands of years, and your body will do much better. Of course, you'll always hear me talk about getting your blood test for vitamins, minerals, hormones, heavy metals, because you need to do that. If you're taking vitamins and you don't know that your levels are low, you still could be low. You're losing the benefit those vitamins would give you. So you must get that vitamin blood test done.
Someone in the chat said, I never understood the argument for anti-anxiety medications and then depression medications taken at the same time, except for making patients addicted to medications and living a dependent life.
Good point. Very good point. I wouldn't have to explain this to most people, that it's a wonderful business plan for you to be on a medication forever. It's an annuity. And if it's a medication that you may not need, that's more of a problem. I'm not saying that people don't need cardiac meds if your heart's all messed up, or blood pressure meds, or this or that. But the point is, if we can fix things, and we do this all the time, you may not need the meds. Because if we get you to lose weight, your blood pressure comes down, get off the blood pressure meds. But it's so easy to throw pills at people, and some people are just wanting to go to the doctor to get a pill rather than to change the cause. Some people don't want to exercise. And I tell them, you're missing out on feeling really, really good, because if you walk every day, or you do a little bit of weights or a little this or that, your body will start to feel great. You're flooding your cells with oxygen, vitamins, minerals, and hormones. You'll feel great. But it's easy to take a pill for every symptom you have, and all of a sudden people are on 10, 15 pills, and they're not doing well, and they're not sure why, because the cause of the problem keeps progressing.
What else we got here, people? What supplements can make your histamine go down?
It's not as though there's a supplement you could take that could decrease your body's response to an irritant or an allergen. People are used to saying, what medication do I take to do this? And some people look at supplements saying, well, what supplements can decrease that? So it's hard to say. Vitamin C has some antihistamine-like effect. It has some, and quercetin may have some beneficial effects, but I can't say if you take vitamin C, you're going to decrease histamine enough to change whatever you're going through. I'm not even sure what you're going through, so it's hard to make a generalization like that.
With all the talk about ivermectin, fenben, and meben, seems like trials need to be done for all the different cancers. Your thoughts on...
Absolutely.
So your thoughts on Dr. Makis, if you know of him.
I know of him, and I think the reality is, all medications out there may have different benefits. I talk about, and for years I've been saying there are medications for your prostate that also lower your blood pressure, that help to shrink your prostate. And there are medications that are anti-infectives now that we're seeing have anti-cancer effect. So I think these meds, because they're already being studied and already showing result, have to be studied for every type of cancer. Fenbendazole, mebendazole, albendazole are three of the most common that are used with the ivermectin. I would put research into that right away because it's already shown to be beneficial and safe and without side effect and risk. But remember, there's a big money-making lobby that's not going to want those meds to come over and take away chemo and such and all the other expensive meds. But absolutely, put money into that.
Someone just asked, we already answered this question about the what foods can help with anxiety. Actually, that was the first question out of the gates. If you want to go back to that, black oil seed for cancer prevention too, I've heard.
Maybe. I don't think every natural substance works in every person for every cancer or every cardiac issue. So I think that there are a lot of nutrients and substances that are beneficial. But I tell people, you just can't think that just because you're taking this that you're never going to have a problem. I've had people that have taken lots of nutrients their whole lives and ended up with a type of cancer, breast cancer, lymphoma. So the environment gives us a lot of junk. And a lot of the environmental exposures are what contribute to the cancers. So we just have to be cautious when you look at a study or look at a comment on something that you don't think, oh, if I take this, I'll never get that. It doesn't really work that way.
We got our Jersey fans talking about how it's cloudy and rainy. We got our Oregon fans talking about how it's cloudy and rainy, and New York as well. It is. We can confirm.
You got to love the people in Oregon and way out there in Seattle because it rains more than anywhere, I think, except maybe, I don't know, the rainforests in South America or somewhere, or Thailand or wherever, because it rains so much. I would not be happy in a mostly rainy area. I need sun.
Me too.
I need good weather, a nice cool breeze. You know, rain is good for the gardens and the greens. That's what I always say. For the gardens, the golf courses. But I think rain should occur mostly at night when, you know, we don't have to deal with it. Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure how I could live in Seattle.
There's no better time. Listen, when people, is there anything, do you ever get a better night's sleep than when it's raining out? It should always be at night.
Yeah, I definitely sleep better at night when it rains. Have to make an announcement talking about sleeping at night. Very important announcement. Frankie, you might have to pull up a little picture. My daughter has graduated. My daughter Delilah, my 165-pound St. Bernard, has graduated from sleeping in the crate now to sleeping in the bedroom. So just like that, with a snap of a finger, the other night, she didn't want to go back in the crate. And usually I give her a little treat, goes back in the crate, she's happy sleeping there. But the past couple of nights, she didn't want to the crate. Last night, she came into the bedroom. I sat down on the couch. I have a big Chesterfield couch at the base of my bed. You know, we're watching TV, and she's watching TV with me, and Zeus is on the floor, snoring. And lights out. I went to bed. She went right on a little runner that I have next to the bed. Out cold, slept all night. Wow. There she is. Little Delilah and medium Zeus. Zeus is about 120 pounds. Delilah's big. And she's got the best temperament. She's the funniest dog. So she's a real sweetheart. But yeah, she's sometimes a handful.
Well, you have many congratulations in the chat, Doc.
Thank you. I was telling Frankie I was thinking of getting another dog. As if 2 big dogs weren't enough. But there's just something about dogs that are just, it's so appealing. Especially a cool dog that you connect with. They're so funny. But I like big dogs. A lot of my friends have little dogs. My friend John's got at one point 3 or 4 Chihuahuas. He used to have pit bulls.
How do you go from pit bulls to Chihuahuas?
I don't know.
That's the question.
He had pit bulls in L.A., but the pit bulls were a little edgy.
Yes.
because
They could snap.
yeah, there's an interesting story about whatever kind of pet the neighbor had, and the pet tunneled under the fence and got into the yard where there were three pit bulls.
No. Oh, no.
So that's the end of that story.
Yeah. No evidence left.
Don't tunnel. Stay where you are. Be free, roam, be happy. Do not tunnel into areas that are potentially dangerous. My sister had a fox terrier, gorgeous little dog, Ollie. She lived to 17, but she was a beautiful little dog. She'd run up and jump up in my arms. I don't know, I just like big dogs. They lumber around, they never bark. Zeus never barks. Delilah barely barks. Sometimes she will if she just wants my attention and she wants to drink another gallon of water because she drinks water like it's going out of style. But I was showing Frankie some pictures of different dogs that are big dogs that I liked.
They're all perfect, and I need them all.
They're all gorgeous. I mean, different temperaments. So I looked at either getting another St. Bernard, like a male, or maybe getting a English Mastiff, the brindle color. It's got all these cool different like markings on it. Then there's what was the big fluffy white one we were talking about?
Oh, the
Newfoundland.
burger? Oh, yeah.
Newfoundland. Then there's a Leon Burger, which looks kind of like a lion. They're big. Caucasian Shepherd, which is giant and can be really scary because they're the ones that protect livestock against wolves and bears and things, and they're fearless, but I don't need a really scary dog at my house. A Kangal, similar, big, white, sometimes tan-colored dogs that,
Sometimes terrifying.
yeah, sometimes terrifying. But I don't know. We'll see.
Someone in the chat, I believe all pit bulls should not be able to breed. Let the breed die out, and that would be it. Sorry for any pit bull owners, and I know many are nice, but too unpredictable and dangerous.
I've seen, my friends had a couple of pit bulls. One was called Bullet, the other's called Magoo. And they're both really, really sweet dogs. And every time I see them, they come running over to me and stuff, and I scratch their ears and their heads and stuff. I guess it depends on how you train them, because they don't all start out bad and dangerous. But, sometimes like the big pit bull dogs, they just look scary.
Yeah.
Gigantic head. Like
one of my best friends has it's called an American Bully, which
Yeah.
is like there's pit bull in it, and then I think it's mixed with American Bulldog, and it's freaking adorable. It's like it's a bull, if it's coming at you, it's happy, but it's gonna move you wherever he wants.
You gotta get out of the way.
And sweetest thing ever. But then he gets another one, and I told him, I was like, listen, you just maybe wait a little bit. You have this one. It's a lot of energy and it's very strong. And he's like, no, I need another one. And immediately when that other one came, the one he had originally was a girl, then gets a boy. And the girl, like when she would smell him, she would snap and go at the other one. And then he had to separate them. It's a whole nightmare.
Yeah, it's a whole dynamic. Usually when you put two dogs together, you got to first try it out and see what happens. When I had Maximus, who is a bigger German Shepherd than Zeus, and I got Zeus because Maximus was getting older, and I had them together. They were great together. They were like best friends. They'd go out and urinate on the same bush. I mean, they did everything together. They were inseparable. Then when Max passed, I wanted to get another dog for Zeus, and then I got Delilah, and now they're inseparable. So it's kind of the temperament of the dog. And if your dog is happy and doesn't mind having another dog there, then it can be terrific. But sometimes the dog just wants all of your attention and doesn't want anything else in its way.
Yeah. Exactly. Okay, I got a few questions here. I have bad hay fever. I sneeze all the time. What can I do to make it back to normal?
The best mechanism for that is changing the way your body perceives the allergen. That means if we were to do simple skin testing to see what threshold of dose of allergen you respond to or irritates you, and we find that by doing different doses of the allergen on your skin, we can give you either drops under your tongue that you would take daily, or an allergy treatment, a shot with a below threshold dose that would never cause you to react, but your body gets used to it. Then your threshold keeps going up. As you keep going up, you push the existing threshold up higher, that all of a sudden you're not reacting to that allergen because your body's getting used to it at a below threshold dose. That's probably the best way to say it. So that typically is the most significant way to change how overreactive you are. And allergens to things that you breathe or eat, could be different levels. Something that you're really allergic to, a tiny dose creates a reaction. Other things you're not as much allergic to, a bigger dose takes a reaction, but that would be taken into consideration in making the treatment.
All right. What's the name of the thing you put under your tongue with hay fever? They're wondering.
The thing you put under your tongue.
What's the name of the thing put under your tongue with hay fever to get back to normal?
Oh, it's just a sublingual allergy treatment. So for sake of discussion, let's say you're allergic to 10 things. And each thing has a different level of, or different threshold. We would create a treatment where we put a little bit of each of those allergens at a below threshold dose for each of those allergens. So you're getting a little bit of those 10 things, but not a dose that would create a reaction. And you take the drops under your tongue, and it's specific to your immune response. So your body looks at that and says, no big deal, no big deal. And as you do it every day, your body gets used to it, your threshold goes up, now the environment's affecting you less, the higher your threshold goes. It's a pretty genius idea. I didn't invent it, but it's been around forever. But it makes all the sense in the world.
Someone has a small spot of pancreatic cancer who has gone through radiation for the tumor and it has gotten smaller. They want to remove the pancreas. Is that the process, or can it be saved?
I don't think you can remove the whole pancreas, because then where are you going to get insulin from for your sugars? They can remove part of it. Or if you're shrinking it down and it's a tiny piece, I would just take a small section of that out. And there are two schools of thought on that. If you take out a tumor before you know if the therapy is working, then you won't know what therapy might be working. If the therapy is working and it's shrinking the tumor, that's great. You can see that tumor continue to shrink. So it may not be a bad idea to keep it there if the therapy is showing that it is shrinking and it's not acting or existing anywhere else. Usually a PET scan will tell you if it's anywhere else, because that's a sugar uptake test, CAT scan, with the glucose. I guess at some point, because other doctors might think, well, if you're shrinking it, get it out. So it can't spread, it can't do anything else, which is a valid thought as well. So you've got to balance those ideas with the doctors and figure out what makes the most sense to you. And there are different things that are not chemo that can be used to help to improve your immune response against cancer. There's a lot of new things out now, so that may be worthwhile looking at. Vitamin C IVs, of course, good levels of vitamin D, low-carb diet. So yeah, there are more options now than there have ever been before. But it's not a decision you could make just by, casually chatting about it. You have to look at the entirety of the picture. And for a lot of our patients I see that come in that are working with an oncologist or someone, or a oncologist that is complementary, integrative, oncologist, then we'll bounce around the ideas of doing the vitamin IVs and some of these things to help to make your immune system strong.
Right. All states are beautiful in their own way. I think that's referring to our conversation before. Yes, it's unfortunate that the most beautiful state by far is California, which is burning to the ground.
Visibly beautiful in a way. I mean, lots of states, Colorado's gorgeous. I've been there in winter and summer. I mean, a lot of states, mountainous states are beautiful, places where beaches are beautiful. Yeah, it's just that we can't let politicians destroy the states.
I have bad anxiety with driving a car on freeways. What can I do to get back to normal?
Has the anxiety been there a long time, or is it always in driving on the freeway? Or, I need to have more information on that, because you can't take anti-anxiety medication and drive. So fall asleep, and that would be the end of it. Have to figure out if there are other things that are associated with the anxiety or something that you're eating or doing that's creating more of the anxiety and make you less able to drive.
Do you usually go to Starbucks before you hit the freeway?
You never know.
I'll wait for any response on that one. What else we got? Let me see if I'm missing anybody. Check our YouTube. What's going on YouTube? Just talking about anti-anxiety medications for children and all the issues that come from that.
Well, I'm not a big fan of what's being done to kids over the past couple of decades, especially with injectables.
Okay. Someone's in the YouTube chat saying that Rite Aid has been calling their office, saying that they're going around to offices offering the flu vaccine because it's ready to go. How far away?
For what bug?
The
Please tell me.
flu vaccine.
Yeah, but for what bug? They can't even tell you. Because that vaccine that's ready today was made like 3 or 4 years ago.
And what the flu the new flu sickness isn't even out yet, right?
Usually they wait to release it. Usually they wait to talk about it in September, but I don't know. I do not know. I don't trust so many things.
No, it's a shame what America haters have done to these states.
Yep.
Saying.
We can only hope that the political pendulum will swing back heavy duty in the opposite way. After electing this mayor in the city and these other people, the city's just going to continue to crash. And sooner or later, people are going to say, oh, wow. What did we do?
Yeah.
The people that voted for him, and from what I've heard and what's been talked about in media, a lot of people that were teachers and teachers' unions voted for him. Why, I can't imagine. And now he's raided their union. He's raided their pension plan for money. What do you think?
Yeah.
What do you think this idiot was going to do?
What an idiot. I saw something. It looked like an NYPD squad car, Doc. And when you look closer, it was like different writing, different letters. And it was like a Muslim police force.
Get rid of that crap.
Yeah, just driving around. Like, what have we become?
People sell out, and that's why they allow these things to happen. So people sell out to big money people that want to destroy, what we've known of as our way of life for so many years. Politicians sell out. They did in, Minnesota with all that crap. The USAID thing is just politicians making believe they're doing something nice for a cause and stealing the money. You're not putting money into those causes. That's the big lie. That's how the politicians get rich.
Let's hope for Blakeman, huh?
Yeah. He's a very nice guy. I met him a couple times.
We got some new people coming in. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I see you.
Good afternoon, peeps.
So they have to get their flu poisoning shots out early so followers don't find out it's all a scam. Can't lose their followers.
Like I say, it's an annuity. And people ask me and they talk to me, I say, well, how long does it take to make 350 million, 360 million vaccine shots, flu shots? Not a week, not a month. So if you know that the new bug that's going to be here for the flu is, you find out in September it's this bug, how is there already a treatment for it? It's common sense. How long will it take to make that many little injectables? A few years? How'd they know a few years ago what bug was going to be here? You can't answer these questions.
Nostradamus Pfizer over there.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Let's see what else we got. Pretty up on top of the questions here.
Let's talk a little bit about flavonols as being beneficial to your heart and your blood vessels. Flavonols may help the body against heart disease and even certain cancers improve cognitive function. This is from a big study They have anti-inflammatory effect. 30,000 study participants, United States, United Kingdom, looked at biomarker measurements. Dr. Gunter Kunle, I think that's how you pronounce it, Kuhnle, professor of nutrition and food science, Department of Food and Nutritional Sciences, Chemical Analysis, University of Reading in the UK, told Medical News Today. Pretty cool stuff here.
What's a flavanol?
So, flavanols are components of different, good foods. They're found pretty heavily in the skin of apples and blackberries, blueberries, grapes, cocoa, pears, fava beans with a nice Chianti. That's a Anthony Hopkins Hannibal Lecter joke. So those things have a lot of those great flavanols in them and are just protective. But we hear this every couple of months and years that there's something good that's protective of your heart. Makes sense. All these great things were put on the planet, for us to be able to eat good, healthy, great things. Don't get junk food. Go out and get some good, healthy vegetables. It's not hard to do that. I tell a story of a patient who wanted to lose weight, comes into the office. He's a very funny, gregarious, outgoing Italian guy. And I joke around with him every time he comes in. So one day he came in, and he had a bag, a backpack or something like that. And we're talking about diet. What are you eating? Oh, I'm having this nice, clean diet. I looked in the bag, and I stood up, and I said, that's a McDonald's bag. I'm like, you had McDonald's breakfast this morning? And he knew I caught him. He said, well, once in a while. I said, oh, you're killing me. We're trying to get you healthy, get you to lose weight. You're putting all this fat and sugar and garbage into your body. I said, at least throw that out before you get to the office.
Disrespect. Does cooking destroy flavanols, or do foods still keep most of their benefits?
They'll keep most of it. I think you're not going to destroy it because nobody really cooks foods, heavily anymore. Well-done things. I think steaming is great, and just very lightly cooking some of the foods is the best way to do it. Where was I? And I had, there was zucchini, yellow and green zucchini squash, and it was just, sliced, and with some seasoning done very quickly in the pan, a little crunchy. It was delicious. Where was I? It was so good. I commented on it. I could eat that every day. It was that good. It either was at Opus or maybe La Pizzetta. Either way, it's good stuff. And you can make it so easily on your own. Yeah. But super delicious.
Switching back between the medical and the politics, I'm just following the chat. Don't forget about Paterson, New Jersey, being called the first Muslim city in the country. Muslims all over the police force. Here in Ocean County, Orthodox have their own police-like force with illegal flashing lights on their cars.
Why is that even a thing? Why is that allowed?
I think they go by like public safety or like neighborhood watch, and somehow that like makes them allowed to be.
I just don't get that. And they're not carrying guns, right?
I would really hope not. But you know what? What would surprise me these days? After seeing
Nothing
that,
surprises you. Yeah.
There you go, talking food and making me hungry. Listen, we do that on this show. When you tune in to the Optimal Health.
I've always said that you can't get two Italian people together without talking about food for like 3 minutes. Usually 2 or 3 minutes, all of a sudden, food. So,
speaking of,
we're obsessed.
You'd be proud of me, Doctor. Yesterday, yes. I got a beautiful bottle of olive oil from Umbria.
Nice, very nice.
And I'm very much looking forward to trying it.
Very nice. Yeah, I have a lot of patients that come from different parts of Italy, and they will bring back, olive oil or wine or this or that, olives and all sorts of cool stuff. And some of the pure olive oil that's grown in different regions, whether it's Umbria, Bari, Sicily. I've had some Naples. I've had some from all over Italy and some from other countries as well. Hoja Blanca is a great olive oil from Spain. And the flavor is just so good because there's no chemical in it. It's not this stuff you buy on the shelf of a supermarket that you have no idea what you're getting, and you're getting a little bit of this and a little bit of that, but it's just plain, pure, delicious olive oil. So when I go on my little trip in a few weeks, I intend to stock up on olive oil.
Yeah, something tells me you're going to be getting some shipments for a few months after that trip, Doc.
I'm going to set it up. Auto ship every month.
I'm so jealous of you. Come on.
Yep. So I have to go back and kind of see if I can find my roots in Sicily. So flying from Catania to Sicily, flying from JFK to Catania in Sicily, and then staying in Taormina, nice place on the beach, jump in the ocean, just like a cocoon, de-age myself, get younger, swimming in the ocean there. Run around all over the place, take pictures of everything I can, eat everything I can, within reason. And then fly to Pisa, driving to Tuscany, because my friend and his wife, Tom and Adriana, are having their 30th wedding anniversary. And their whole family is going. They have a villa, I think, for a month. And Tom's wife, her brother, and that side of the family is going. And they invited a few friends. I have one who are very lucky to have been invited. And we'll hang out at their villa for 5 days or whatever the amount of time is, then go home through Rome. And I have a friend who works with the Vatican Bank, and he's promised that I can get really awesome deep tours of the Vatican, places where nobody really goes to see. So I'm excited for that.
The chat's as jealous as I am, Doc.
Yep. Got to figure out a way to meet the Pope.
Oh.
Papa Americano.
You need to.
I'm going to try.
You must get blessed, Doc. Oh, man. Yeah, chat's just saying bring some olive oil back for us.
Absolutely.
Maybe some wine. I'll take some wine.
A little bit of both. So Forte de Marmi is where they have the villa, which is supposed to be a gorgeous area, kind of like the French Riviera, but in Italy. Very elegant, and all sorts of amazing things there. And interestingly enough, it's in Tuscany, and some of the best wines in Tuscany are not far away, vineyards. So I want to go to Antinori. I want to go Guado al Tasso. I have to look at the list that I've made of places. So yeah, just run around, have some fun. Eat, drink, be merry.
Just breathe in the air. Can you bring me back some air, Doc?
Yes.
Just bottle it up.
I'll bottle it up, bring it back. Fresh air from Italy.
I'll take it. Someone's saying 13 Olives in Pennsylvania has the best olive oil. Ooh,
13 olives in Pennsylvania.
Interesting.
Check that out.
I'll check out some locally sourced.
Why not?
That's why I want a greenhouse so badly. If I could just have some olive trees. It's the only way you could have them.
Is a good idea.
It's the only way you could possibly have an olive tree like that.
Make it hot enough, yeah.
We got an update from that, the anxiety with the driving.
Mm-hmm.
He said, I had bad anxiety driving on the freeway. I had a bad panic attack 6 years ago, and ever since then, I can't drive on freeways.
Yeah, so we have to figure out why that panic attack just happened out of theoretically nowhere, and then correct that part, and then the person may be able to get back to, gradually driving on the freeway.
Well, Pavlov's dog.
Yeah, I've seen people that have developed an aversion to something, and once we figured out what the contributor was, then they were able to do something like driving, maybe driving early in the morning on the freeway and late at night where there's nobody around, and it's easier because, it's not packed with cars that may make you a little afraid. But we have to figure out biochemically what the underlying cause is. That's always the first step.
Got to figure out your rosebud, Yep.
Am
I dating myself with that one?
Maybe.
Let me see what I'm missing here. They claim to be neighborhood watches. Oh, that's back to the... They claim to be neighborhood watches, but they have been known to pull people over on the roads like they are the police. Also drive through lights like police or ambulances would. So nice. So nice.
Get rid of it. And there are people who believe, clearly, that they have an agenda, they have their own beliefs, and they're not pro-American. And it hasn't gone well for other countries that let a lot of the individuals in the same fashion. And there's a lot of muggings, there are rapes, there's a lot going on in Europe that we're not hearing about here. Because the people that are allowing this and allowing influx of people that are undocumented just want voters.
Yeah.
That's what they want. That's the whole reason. They don't care about anything else. They just want the voters there so they can stay in power and keep sucking up money for themselves.
Ah, what a beautiful system we got here.
Interesting study, the GLP-1 drugs may slow biologic aging. So they're looking at progression of several epigenetic markers associated with aging compared to those receiving placebo. 9% reduction in biologic aging speed using the Dunedin Pace epigenetic clock alongside improvement in certain markers. Benefits to blood, brain, heart, liver, kidneys, metabolic health. I think that the biggest comment about that would be you're decreasing how sugar damages every part of your body. Damages your cells, the lining of your blood vessels, your nerves, damages organs. Look at full-blown diabetes. Every part of your body's damaged by it. And you don't have to be full-blown diabetic for excess sugar to create some of those problems. So that's why I think that people are doing better. And again, I'm not a drug-happy person. If we recommend one of these things, a once-a-week shot, we'll tell people to do it for a month or two and see how you feel. If that was a crutch you needed to lose the weight, burn down the fat, lower your pressure, decrease your appetite, lower your cholesterol, triglycerides, etc., great. I'm not a fan of people using meds forever. So we do them in like a 1 or 2 month burst and see if they can get the benefit. Then go off it. Because if for the 2 months while you're on it, you're doing low carb and exercise and correcting vitamins, minerals, and hormones, you'll have multiple benefits, and those will continue even off the shot. So I'd rather do it that way than keep people on a shot all the time and not have them do the other, because you have to do the entire picture.
How much added sugar is too much for the average adult?
That's a good question. There are different ways to answer that. If there's a lot of carb in your diet, I'm not talking about table sugar. I'm talking about fruits, except berries, bread, pasta, potatoes, oatmeal, grains, rice. They're all high carb foods. Not even to talk about cake and everything else that people might have. If you track their A1C, if you track their blood sugar fasting, if you track their triglycerides, if you look at insulin levels, C-peptide, fructosamine, you can see if the sugars are too high in the picture. So I like to use your body's framework as a measurement of that. But most people don't need more than 50 grams of carb a day, because we have the majority of patients that do my low-carb diet on 30 grams or less per day, and they burn sugar, burn fat, burn cholesterol, lose weight. They do very well with that. Then when they're at the weight they want to be at, we'll raise it to 40 or 50 grams a day, and they may plateau and be fine right there. You go to 100 grams a day, you're just way overloading it, and you're just going to bounce back. Gain it all back, high triglycerides, cholesterol. So somewhere potentially around 50 grams per day. I'm not talking about pro athletes or bodybuilders who would need more, but you put the carbs on board accordingly.
Okay. My father's heart was damaged by diabetes. He had 3 heart attacks and died at 58, 35 years ago. Diabetes likes to attack the weakest parts first.
It's a bad disease. It always has been, always will be, unless, we take a comprehensive approach. You can't just throw meds at something and allow people to eat whatever they want. It's just going to stay and kill them. And it's sad. I feel bad. I'm sorry to hear your dad passed in that fashion so long ago. But the traditional approach is just meds, meds, meds. We strongly recommend people doing exercise, walking every day for a half hour to 45 minutes. Indoor bike, outdoor bike, weights, gym, Pilates, yoga, whatever you want to do, something a half hour to 45 minutes nonstop every day. That helps to open your blood vessels, deliver vitamins, nutrients, and oxygen to your cells, burn up sugars and fats, cut the carbs down in your diet, correct hormone decline, vitamin decline, all of these things make a very big difference. And of course, stem cell therapy is the ultimate mechanism to put brand new cells into your pancreas that make insulin. What's more brilliant than that? Letting your body use some of its best cells to repair damaged tissue. That's what it does. There are millions of studies that say so. And every country throughout the world has been doing stem cells for years and years, decades and decades. But here they don't want it to be done because it takes away from the game.
The game. The most dangerous game. Sorry. We have this question from our YouTube audience. What's your thoughts on an MRI scan to check for cancers from head to toe as a preventative measure in the future?
So there are people who years ago did CAT scans, full body CAT scans to look for things. The only problem is you're going to be looking at little insignificant things over and over and over again and getting biopsies where you may not need or want to get the biopsy. So on one hand, if you do full body or total body MRIs, you're going to continue to look for things, whereas you may not absolutely need to. I'm not saying you can't do them. I'm not saying you can't do an MRI of your brain. We recommend that often when people have memory, focus, concentration problems, because I want to see if there's some sort of shrinkage of the brain, degeneration of the brain. It's not only for tumors, blood vessel abnormalities, microvascular ischemia. We do it for joints all the time. For people that have bad lung issues, we'll do it for the chest. For people that have abdominal issues, we may do it for the abdomen or the pelvis. So I just don't know that I'd run out and do a total body MRI because it's not going to stop there. You're going to want to keep looking and looking and looking at things that may be insignificant. If you don't mind incurring the time and the cost, because no insurance company is going to pay for the total body MRI.
If someone cuts way back on sugar, how quickly would they notice a difference?
Some people right away. Some people, when they get rid of cake, bread, rice, oatmeal, grains, say, wow, a day or two later, my bloating in my stomach is gone. I don't feel bloated anymore. Or my bowel movement is improving. Some people get loose bowel movements from inflammation that occurs as a result of having the grains. Some people will say my focus and concentration is more clear because when your body's burning fat as a primary fuel, your brain does better. It may take some time before that person can see their cholesterol to drop or their weight to drop. Sometimes you start seeing that within a week or so. Triglycerides plummet right away when you cut the carbs out. So usually people see a few different things over the course of the first week or so. All good, though.
So Cleeselly in the chat wants to know. Oh, there I am. So I was asked why you would take your own 71-year-old stem cells instead of using anonymous younger stem cells.
Because there's no such thing as a 71-year-old stem cell. That's a completely inaccurate depiction of your stem cells. They divide all the time. There's no cell in your body anywhere that's 71 years old. So the people that want you to think that you can get umbilical cord or amniotic, which are not allowed in this country, by the way, because they're younger, newer cells, I'm going to explain the downside to that in a minute. Your stem cells are not 71. They weren't made once when you were born and just hang out there and bum around for 71 years. They're used in small numbers, but you're making new cells all the time. They're brand new cells every day. So in doing this so many times, when we extract stem cells from your crest of your ileum, your bone marrow, that's where we get them from, the number of cells is back to normal in a week. So how could that possibly happen? And science proves this, that those cells are back to normal in a week if all you have is one cell line that lives 71 years. You have brand new cells being made all the time, every second. Your cells are the best for your body to recognize. They're your cells, all the same cell markers. They call them histocompatibility antigens. They're yours. You can't reject them. There's no downside, no risk, no side effect, no issue with your cells. And wherever we put them, they go and make brand new cells, whether it's ligament, tendon, cartilage, any of your organs, your brain, eyes, etc. And the evidence on that is really overwhelming. There's more evidence on this than any drug that anybody's ever taken, because drugs don't have millions of studies on them, because stem cell application has been for every degenerative disorder, and it continues to carry on. So much so, the last time I looked, there were like 7,000 clinical trials being run on stem cell therapy. What other things have that many trials? None. Now, when you go for someone's umbilical cord or amniotic fluid, again, not allowed in this country. So doctors that are doing that are A, going to be shut down, B, going to be fined, because the FDA doesn't allow that. They only allow us to extract, spin, and put back in. It's called minimal manipulation. That's all that's allowed. When you take somebody else's cord, number one, you don't know the genetics of that individual. You know nothing about the donor. You don't know infection history. You don't know how old the cord is, how many cells die when you freeze it, how long is it frozen. The list of questions goes on and on. That's why it's not allowed. Also, by law, before using a product from somebody else, they have to irradiate it to kill off potential pathogens or other bad things. Now, what are you really getting? You're getting someone's cord with who knows what, and it's irradiated, and then you're putting it in your body? Why would you do that instead of using your own cells? So your body could and would reject foreign tissue. It's what it does. So there's no argument for the benefit of using umbilical from someone else when you could use your own cells. And we've shown the proof of it many, many times over.
What's the procedure for stem cell extraction?
So, you know where your belt sits on the crest of your ilium? It's a bump that goes down the front, down the back. If you see a skeleton, here we are. This is facing forward. This crest is the crest of the ilium. Here on the side is where your belt typically sits. If you walk your way back, there's a fat bump right here. Bump. Fat bump. So yeah, there's a little fat bump there on both sides. And we sterilize the area. Betadine. 3 times we clean it, put drapes over the area. I have my sterile gloves on. I find the bump. We then numb the skin and then lay the anesthetic, tapping it on the bone. And as that absorbs, you both sterilized and numb the area. Then we take a device that we turn and creates a little bit of a pinhole, so you're going on the other side of that bone, which could be about that thick. So as soon as the device gets on the other side, I can feel that, because you're feeling like it's almost like taking a screwdriver and screwing this wood screw into a piece of wood that's not that thick, and you can kind of feel the resistance, and then the resistance releases. So it's a pinhole you extract the fluid from. It takes about a minute or so, a minute and change. We're getting about 60 cc's of fluid. Once that's done, you put ice on it. We have patients lay there for a half hour while it spins in the centrifuge. Then you're separating red blood cells, plasma, stem cells. Take the stem cells out. And if you inject the joint, or you inject your face for rejuvenation, or your scalp for your hair, or IV to go to all your organs, IV and nebulizer for bad lungs, or IV and nasal droplet where we drip it into your nose so it hits the back of your nasal cavity going into your brain, which is unique. No one else does that. Those are the applications. So the whole procedure takes about an hour, sometimes less. But the extraction's about a minute or so.
All right. Well, we're about to. I got one more question on the queue here, but it's going to completely take us away from stem cell. So don't know if you want to finish up
Yeah,
on
why
any
not?
thoughts.
We could keep talking about STEM. That's easy.
Oh, this is not about STEM. This is something else. But I'm on Zoloft. How do I get off of it?
We need to see what your blood test is doing. Maybe even look at neurotransmitters to see why you're on a medication to try to affect your brain in a positive way. If your hormones are low, you could be anxious or depressed based upon that. If we correct those, you do better. In many cases, we get people off the meds. And correct nutrients as well. So it's hard for me to say exactly what your picture will show when we evaluate your vitamins, minerals, and hormones, and heavy metals, by the way, because they cause problems with your brain. So we'd have to see exactly what's occurring there, fix that, and then start to wean off the meds. We've done it before many times.
Can stem cell help with disc issues?
Yeah, there are people that have, big back problems. And interesting case, there was a gentleman who came in, he's 89 now. He came in like 12 or 13 or 14 years ago. And we did intravenous, which was great for his organs. I think he had some issues with his kidneys, which improved pretty quickly. And we injected his back. And he had horrible back pain. And the stem created more strength in his ligaments to be able to hold him in position. And the back pain had gone away. Now, 12, 13 years later, he's got some back pain at 89. So he wants to do it again. So we certainly can. It's, straightforward.
We got thanks, Dr. Chris and Frankie.
You're welcome.
Let me just make sure I'm not missing anybody here.
So we've also put together, I reinvigorated the Stem Cell Foundation that I started before COVID. Couldn't get anywhere with it during COVID because we were trying to go around to large organizations to raise money to treat wounded veterans. So we have a lot of veterans in the lineup to be treated because one of the first patients I treated, Josh, who you've seen him on our podcast interviews, you've seen him on my website, he did so well. He couldn't function at all after he was blown up in the vehicle in Afghanistan. Went through law school, doing extremely well, and we've treated another 15 or 20 guys. A young lady we treated the other day, she was an amputee for traumatic brain injury. And I think we treated her last week. So we're going to wait 3 or 4 weeks and talk to her, see how she's doing. She comes from out of state like a lot of them do, but we're back on track with getting that up and out there so people can learn about the foundation and people could donate, through the website, the Stem Cell Foundation. I should have brought brochures and things, and we'll get a QR code set up for that if people want to see that, if they want to help out. So we've seen some dramatic results with the veterans. Also, look at YouTube. There are different veterans that we've interviewed on the podcast, and you can watch their interview. Dominic, an older gentleman, very good looking, had bad injury, shrapnel, I think he might have been in Korea. He's not old enough to have been in Vietnam, I think, but I think he was in Korea. And his shoulder's wonderful, and he's a judge, and he just speaks so beautifully. He's very articulate. Then 2 other young gentlemen, Garrett, and we did a double interview a while back, but you can see those interviews and see how well people are doing.
Yeah.
Garrett was told he had MS. He was completely falling apart, big, stocky guy. Did the stem, and he feels like $1 million. He's putting brand new brain cells into play. So you're making your neurotransmitters again. So
yeah,
all benefit, no drawback.
And I believe we have those episodes on LFA as well, if you want to look on Rumble.
Yeah, traumatic brain injury. We're primarily raising funds to treat veterans that have had traumatic brain injury because those are the guys who need it the most, and girls.
Rumble Mania says, seems like hospitals should be giving infusions of vitamin C to boost the immune system. No?
Absolutely. Literature's been around forever. If you go on Google Scholar and you plug in vitamin C or intravenous vitamin C therapy, you look at 1.5 million hits or studies that show that vitamin C helps to inhibit cancer, helps to inhibit viruses, COVID, Epstein-Barr, herpes virus, all of that. Quadruples your killer cells. We spoke about vitamin C being great for your brain to decrease age-related changes of your brain. So very important. It's one of the more important nutrients, I think, that we talk about.
Chat's quieted down a bit.
So it may very well be that next week or the week after, probably the week after.
Probably whenever you get back from Italy, right?
Yeah. We'll be doing our second show during the Saturday, our longevity show. So yeah, a little more to plan with that. I'm working with a team where I want to be able to plug into Claude AI and have Claude send me 20 great articles a week, maybe 10. Once I pre-tell it what I want to look for, articles on this, that, heavy metals, chelation, vitamin deficiency, blah, 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 everything. And just go there and grab the articles, see which ones I like, talk about them on the show, put them in the newsletter, put them on the website. So we're going to make my life easier rather than sitting at the desk for 2 hours to try to get 3 or 4 good articles.
Yeah, that should be huge. Also, this is a good question. If I were to go to New York from Texas to do stem cell with you, do you do your evaluation process remotely before making the trip?
Yes. So with everybody that's traveled from almost everywhere, and my long-distance patients, some are from, well, one was from Moscow, a bunch from Europe, Spain, Italy, etc., France. All over the country, we've had people where they'd call, want to set it up, where we do a telehealth visit over the phone, and we chat. Would be nice for you to have a history of all your prior blood work. Send that to us. I could see trends and et cetera, et cetera. If we need new blood work or new MRI, I could send you a prescription, get that done. So when you go over everything with your first visit, and sometimes do a second visit before STEM or a second visit the day of STEM just to review any new stuff that came in, we do STEM on the second visit. So yeah, that's easy to do. We do that a lot.
Great question.
Yeah.
And that's all I got for you, Doc.
All righty. Well, in 40 some odd
I'm
minutes.
sorry, I have one more for you, bro.
Okay.
What snack food should I eat every 3 hours so my blood sugar doesn't go low?
You should have protein and some fat. And you could have a little bit of carb. Now, if you'd like me to suggest a little nice snack for you to have, you can get Forager Project makes cashew milk yogurt. It's got fat in it. It's good. It's a nut. So there's only a gram of carb in that yogurt. If you want to put some berries in it, still barely a gram of carb. So you get the flavor of the berries and you get the nice drinkable yogurt effect. If you want to put a protein powder in there, it's got 21 grams of protein, as I do, like with Orgain. Now you have protein, very good for you. You have some fat, and you have a little bit of carbs, so that'll stabilize your sugar. Because the fat blunts the uptake of the sugar. Some of the sugar that you get will hold you up, and so will the fat and the protein. There are a lot of things like that. But proteins, fats, and a little bit of the fruit. And some people, like a lot of European people, will snack on either a little bit of cheese for the protein, some nuts and seeds, or the nuts for the fat, and then maybe a couple of grapes or a little bit of sugar there. So these things, if done in moderation, will help to stabilize and keep your sugar up. You're not asking for insulin if you have berries because it's not enough sugar effect. You're not asking for insulin if you have the protein powder. You're not asking for insulin if you keep those carbs into a tight range. There's even a company that makes them. What are they called? It's like a little container. You zip it open. It's got cheese and nuts and some raisins or some. You can get those in almost any supermarket. But it's a good way to have a snack. I just like the yogurt. I like cashew milk yogurt. Delicious, nice and clean. Make yourself a little smoothie, but no bananas and fruits and all the other crazy things in it.
And one more question. When are you going to Italy, Doctor? Have a safe and wonderfully blessed trip.
Thank you very much. Within the month, I'll be going to Italy, so I can't wait. I bought my books online to see every little thing that each town will offer, and I'm going to be all ready to roll as soon as I hit the ground.
Let's go.
as soon as I rent whatever car they're renting for me.
Let's end it on this picture, by the way, because I love this one.
Oh, yeah. My little baby.
Are you kidding me?
She has to go out in the yard and look over the yard and see what's happening. She like surveys the territory. She's the sweetest thing. I'm so glad that I got her. A funny story. I used to take my dog Zeus to a daycare place so he could play with other dogs while I was at work. And at one point, I went to pick him up, and there's a petite woman there, lovely woman, started talking with her, oh, blah, 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 this and that. And I said, she asked me the name of my dog. I said it was Zeus. And I told her it was a German Shepherd. She goes, I'm here to pick up Moses. I go, that's a pretty cool name for a dog, Moses. It's a strong name. Like, Maximus was a dog that I had Dakota years ago, but Maximus, Zeus, Delilah. I said, that'd be great. And before I asked what kind of dog, they brought out Moses. And it was a giant St. Bernard. It was a male. It was over 200 pounds. I was like, the dog walked right past the owner, went to me, tilted his head, and just kind of like pushed his body up against mine. I'm like, this is a sign. I need to get a St. Bernard, because I was thinking of getting another German Shepherd. And the dog was just like leaning up against me. I'm like, oh my God, what a friendly dog. And their coat is as soft and silky as anyone, could imagine. She said, oh my God, he doesn't like people. I'm like, well, maybe he's changed. And I think dogs know if people like dogs or don't like dogs or are afraid of dogs. He just came over to me. She goes, I can't believe it. He doesn't like men, just like dogs. I'm like, well, I must be special. At any rate, so once I saw that, I was online looking at all these places. And this gentleman from Pennsylvania, way out there, drove 5 hours with his wife and their pretty much newborn kid to deliver the dog. I said, you didn't have to do that. He says, no, we do it personally every time. I said, wow, I'm going to give this guy's name out to everybody who wants, a St. Bernard. But she turned out to be the perfect dog. Gonna go home and play with her now.
Thank you for your time and answers. Have a great weekend.
Yes, thank you for calling us.
And someone wants to know, said, Frankie, will you be filling in for Dr. Chris while he's on vacation? I will not be, but we will be playing the best ofs, I promise.
Should I take some sort of camera and videotape what I'm doing and send it back?
Do it on your phone, yeah.
I can do that?
Oh, yeah.
So I could do like a little thing on my phone. Do I have to have one of those handheld things?
No.
Like a gimbal?
No.
I could just do segments on my phone.
Oh, yeah.
Or I could walk up and down the streets and ask Italian people questions, and they could answer. I could interview people on the street.
Man on the street. Dr. Chris on the street.
That's an idea. Don't think I wouldn't do that. Don't dare me.
I'm daring you.
I might do that. Okay, thank you all. God bless you. Have a wonderful day.